ITAC, Council Fire and City of Toronto celebrate new chapter for Indigenous tourism at the Spirit Garden. Welcome to Regent Park TV's Indigenous coverage. I'm Thundercloud, bringing you stories on Indigenous issues in our community and across Canada. For Toronto's urban Indigenous communities, especially here in Regent Park, home to the Toronto Council Fire Native Cultural Centre, these stories hold deep significance. They highlight how economic opportunity, cultural revival, reconciliation, and healing are taking shape through initiatives like Indigenous tourism. On July 11th, the Indigenous Tourism Association of Canada, ITAC, unveiled its new National Operational Plan during a special gathering at the Spirit Garden in Nathan Phillips Square, an Indigenous cultural space dedicated to teaching, healing, and ceremony that honors residential school survivors and the children lost to their families and communities. Hosted and supported by Council Fire and the City of Toronto, the event marked a major milestone for Indigenous tourism and cultural resurgence across the country. The gathering brought together Indigenous leaders, tourism experts, city officials, and community members to celebrate ITAC's plan backed by a historic 7-year funding commitment. This commitment will provide approximately $35 million annually to support Indigenous tourism, long-term growth, and sustainability nationwide. ITAC's president, CEO Keith Henry, outlined ITAC's ambitious goals to position Canada as the world's leading Indigenous tourism destination by 2030.
Our goal is to make Canada truly the world-leading Indigenous destination as a country by 2030. It's a very ambitious goal, and there's lots of competition that we're up against from other countries.
Before we dive into the event coverage, Regent Park TV had the opportunity to interview Keith Henry to gain deeper insight into the vision and impact of ITAC's new operational plan.
We were proud to announce a significant new funding to help build Indigenous tourism in a more robust and predictable way from 2025 to 2032. We announced $140 million of private sector investment based on, it works out to about $20 million a year, but it's actually sterling pounds, so when you do the conversion, it's about 35 million Canadian per year. And so we're trying to help 2,700 or so Indigenous tourism businesses that we know are already established. We know there's entrepreneurs out there that want to build their businesses. We know there's people that want to come work in Indigenous tourism in our own communities. And so these investments will help us at ITAC really build more robust programs to help these businesses thrive. And so this is a historic day for us. ITAC's been around for about 10 years, and we've never had this level of predictable, sustainable investment and funding that we can actually work with communities and entrepreneurs across this country. I do think one of the challenges we have is that a lot of people on the Indigenous side, whether you're First Nation, Métis, or Inuit across the country, we think of tourism as a summer job, or we think of it in maybe a certain own way. But what I believe, doing this for 20 years now, and watching communities do that work, seeing that cultural strength, the revitalization, seeing how proud people are sharing their culture, their story, their songs, about who they are. I personally believe, and I've been saying this for many years, that Indigenous tourism is reconciliation in action. And I say that because it's great for the Indigenous side because it helps us sustain and provide another business model to help give people jobs for stuff they already know how to do. And our businesses, pardon me. And what I love is on the non-Indigenous side, Canadians, we know from our own survey, and we've been doing household survey work for years, and it's never been better than what we see right now. 8 out of 10 Canadians on average, and doesn't matter which province you go into or territory, they want to support Indigenous communities through reconciliation efforts, but they don't know how. They don't know where to start. They're scared to make a mistake. And so I love Indigenous tourism because I think this is the platform, whether it's here at this location or it's Osha doing paddle tours on the lake, or it's Thrive Tours, or it's going to Wikwamakong here, just, obviously north of Toronto, or it's somewhere in British Columbia or Northwest Territories. Having people learn on the land and get to know each other is reconciliation in action. Yeah, the partnership with Toronto Native Council Fire, for us it's a newer relationship. We know of the organization, but this is the first time we got a chance to actually work together. And so for us at ITAC, we're a national body, but we wanted to be somewhere where we had a great partner. And obviously, Toronto Native Fire Council was great for us because they have such a beautiful facility, the garden walk, obviously the house, they have the infrastructure here that we thought would symbolize what the potential of Indigenous tourism is. So we want to help partners like this thrive. And so working with them for us, I think, is really about our work investing in our own people and our own businesses at the grassroots level. So we're really thankful to the work they do, and we hope we can continue to build a relationship and help them think about ways they can expand and really grow should they want to.
Miigwech, I'm Thundercloud. Stay tuned for full coverage of the event right here on RPTV.
Also want to acknowledge to this behind me on my stage, Mary Pierre Laney. She's our Quebec representative here from Wendake, our Quebec City, and Jason Johnston, who's our Ontario representative for the Indigenous Tourism Association of Canada board. Okay, someone's excited. That's right on. I want to just get us off with properly with protocol welcome, and I want to call up Andrew Thomas, who's going to walk us through protocol and the Thanksgiving address.
Saguli sukweg, talu higero ni yunget sukwali ni wagit alod, nyonda aga ni wagohunjod, oswega dahnu gonghiwa gowane jitnu wagotandi. Hello everybody, my name is Andrew Thomas. I come from Six Nations of the Grand River Territory, Oneida Nation, Bear Clan. And I was asked to come here today to go through our Gunahela Dunksla, also known as the Thanksgiving Address. Some people also may know this as Ohondungali Wadekwa. So I'm going to do this in the language. Depending on the knowledge of the speaker, sometimes this can last anywhere from 1 minute to an hour. And I know you don't want to sit here for an hour, so I'm going to do it as short and as concise as possible, and then I'll give you guys a translation of the words that come after. So da hosios kunjuk galiwaindak hundu ne galiwadekwa ne no na yedwali wadianto ji sungwa dizu sungwawi ne gonna heladunksa ne gadiwi toni dwail agwegun uska and jidwa wait nuni and gwat ne gula su. Yada jidwadat nu wala dunze gatne kanjokod dahnu agwegune jungwe datsu dane toji na yutu hage na yangwa ne dane yonon wat slowly etonu and bawani zade ne yunkino hajio hunjad agwegun totnu ne sagon kon ladu ne sangwa dizu na teji I know what's te ganto jio hunjage negade we toni dwail agwegun ska and wait nuni ne ngwa ne gulasu Dana de tinu holadu yunkino ha jio hunjade dahnu agwegu na teji wasagun kon la de ganto jio hunjag dane toji na yutu hage na yangwa nigun dana yonon wat slowly galunhya dadi totnu de holi wakashi kayeli ni ganjokoge ne toni sagoli hunde ne galunhya ge tonlu sangwa dizu ayawan squiji ezun de yutna ne dani segun ji sayodege ne ohunu ya de watnis la de nyundi negade we toni dwail agwegun skanji dwa wait nuni ngwat ni gula su danu de tinu holadu kayeli ni kanjokwak ne galun hedadi ne tonu de sagoli wakashung bas dane toji na yutu hage ne ngwat ni gun danu yonan wat slowly ne tonu wani zade ne galun hyage ne gayeli ni ongwe de klarilun hyage lon wat kunu holanu ji sego yungwat ni gun lakashi ne yohonu yat ni watnis la denyundi negade we toni dwail agwegun uskan wa wait nuni ngwat ni gun danu de tinu waladun gayeni ngweda dani toni hage ne ngwat ni gun Danio na tonu yiskan and bawani zade galon yage tano sangwaidism. Yat de wahnis la de nyundi, kalit yat de wasunda de nyundi. Gantune de sangoli huanye tanelo dani dalunza. Negativi toni dwaile agwego uskan wa wait nuni and guatni gula su. Danu desadwanu haladu galon yage tano sangwaidism. Dane toji na yutu hunke ne and guatni gu. Dane to nagali wat queen chinikaya gwali one hodungo ne gana heladunks ne dane to. So I'd like to thank you all for coming, and thanks to Toronto Council Fire and Indigenous Tourism Association of Canada for inviting me here and having the honor to open this event for you. To go over what I just did in Haudenosaunee Customs, every event and gathering that we have is begun with the Ganaheladungsta recitation. It has a purpose, and for that purpose we say Ndwali wahwait nuni ungwatni gulat su. It's meant to bundle our minds together. And how it's done is what this is the most sincere and endearing expression of love and appreciation to all of creation. There's a protocol to it where we start from the earth and we move our way to the sky. So we thank first off all the people that's here, no matter which walk of life that we come from, because it's a good thing that when people such as ourselves are able to congregate. It's something of luck. So we give thanks for that, and we hope that everybody comes here with a good mind. That is to say, with good intentions, to make sure that we all are able to walk and live in Skana or Skano, which is a peaceful way of living. After we talk about the earth, we move up through the grasses, the trees. We thank the animals and the waters. We thank everything that's placed here. Everything that we also, as human caretakers of this land, have to observe over. And then we also ascend our attention to the sky, because there are deities and there are earth actions that we also don't have control over. Lunar, sun, our elder brother the sun, our grandmother the moon, our grandfathers the thunders, and our other grandparents who we acknowledge as the stars. Before finally the last passage we talked to that which we say is which created our bodies. And in thanking that, our understanding is our Creator sends His compassion down every single day and every single night, which is the reason we're still able to survive here and thrive as beings on Ohuenzage or Ohunjage. So for that reason, we do this speech to open every event, because no matter what we all have different reasons for being thankful for the earth. We all have our own individual reasons for being thankful for trees, water, maybe it's bugs. Regardless of what those reasons are, that we understand how important they are to the continuation and the part of the caretaking of this planet that we're on. Those are the notions that bind us. That's the very notion that bound our minds together as I was speaking. So with that, I'd like to thank you all for coming, and hope to remind you all to progress today with a good mind, and to take the three principles of the great law, the Gayan Shrak Go, Gayan Lot Go, that my people, the Haudenosaunee, like to advocate for, which is, some people like to say, peace, power, and righteousness. I like to encourage it as peace, compassion, and strength. So, Nyawa.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you very much for protocol. Now I want to introduce the Red Bear Singers.
Omatakape, Wakantanka Takashala, Wian Pijutaluta Hamia Hechea, my relatives. My spirit name is Red Medicine Woman, and I'm Simshian and Nuchanal, which is from the coast of BC. And I'm also the Blackfish clan and belong to the House of the Eagle. And it's also my honor to be the health support cultural wellness worker for our survivors. And it's my honor today to introduce you, to give you a little bit of a history of our ladies. They're our warriors that survived the 60 Scoop Indian Residential School, day school. This meant many genocides to our people when they were young, and part of their rites of passage to come into was taken away during that time. So a part of our healing journey was to connect ourselves to the heartbeat of Mother Earth, which is the drum, and learn our cultural, traditional, spiritual ways, which is not something that was lost, it's something that's in our DNA. So we're reawakening our spirits, reclaiming our voices, and so I'd like to introduce you to the Red Bear Singers.
Hey!
Thanks again to the Red Bear Singers for sharing a few songs. That was really appreciated. And again, thanks, Andrew, for getting us started properly with protocol as we kick off this event. I also want to thank the Toronto Council Fire Native Cultural Centre and the City of Toronto for hosting this event with us today. So why are we here today? Well, we've launched our 2025-2026 operational plan with the Indigenous Tourism Association of Canada. That's why many of you have joined us today. It's our most ambitious and multi-year transformational change for Indigenous tourism in this country. And why are we doing that? It's because Indigenous cultural tourism has never been in bigger demand. It remains very high here within Canada with domestic visitors, and also international visitation continues to want to explore cultural experiences in this country. So what is our goal? Our goal is to make Canada truly the world-leading Indigenous destination as a country by 2030. It's a very ambitious goal, and there's lots of competition that we're up against from other countries. So what does that mean to get there? This plan is another step in that process. We want to see over 2,700 Indigenous tourism businesses that are truly what is known in the tourism sector as market and export ready. We need 60,000 people working in those Indigenous businesses. And we want to continue to grow the revenue so that our business are contributing about $6 billion annually to Canada's GDP by 2030. That's a tripling of what we were seeing over the last few years. And again, this is what it's going to take for us to become truly the world leader as an Indigenous destination, whether it's here in Toronto, Ontario, Quebec, British Columbia, doesn't matter what part of the country. These are all going to have to be a Indigenous Team Canada effort to get us there. So before I say a few more comments, I want to introduce our board member here from Ontario, Mr. Jason Johnston, who's the next speaker for us and involved with Cape Croker Park here in Ontario. Let's welcome Jason.
Ani everyone. Get my notes ready. Jason Wabadik Indigeni Cause, Adik Indodem, Nashingiming Indonjaba. My name is Jason Johnston. I am on the Executive Board of Directors for the Indigenous Tourism Association of Canada, and I am the representative for Ontario. As Keith had mentioned, I am an operator in Ontario as well, Cape Croker Park, in my home community of Nashingiming on the Bruce Peninsula. If you have an opportunity, we welcome you to explore and see everything that we have to offer. There is so much to look forward to within Indigenous tourism in Ontario and in Canada. And as Keith had mentioned, there's so much potential for growth. And we see that year after year after year. People are just wanting to participate in authentic experiences, learning about culture from people whose culture actually is. There are almost 3,000 Indigenous tourism businesses across Canada, and we're going to see that number grow. There's about 35,000 jobs within this sector. Those numbers will grow as well. We are seeing this bring in $1.3 billion to the GDP in Canada every single year. That number will also grow. We're seeing this demand skyrocket, and we want to be able to meet that demand. We need this type of long-term support that we are here to talk about today to encourage new entrepreneurs, more communities, more businesses to grow and expand and share their culture, share what they have to offer with people all around Canada. Indigenous tourism, like many other industries, is at risk. We had a decline due to COVID. We are bouncing back. We do have a lot of work to do. Now we have tariffs that are hampering some of our business as well, but that's not stopping us. We are continuing to grow. We are continuing to work together as a country. As I said, I'm the representative for Ontario, so I advocate for and support Indigenous tourism businesses in this province, but I also work with our other provinces and territories, including Quebec, because we need to work together. It's not an us versus them, it's all working together to build this industry, to include everybody. And so we're seeing that growing for a very long time. And part of this funding that we're talking about includes building access to reliable business support, making sure that our businesses are marketed properly, that people know where to find them, such as Destination Indigenous, check it out. Right? A lot of training and workforce development because we want people to be involved in this industry. And some people might not know how to do that. And so with the support from ITAC, they will gain that support. They will have the opportunities to grow their businesses or to start businesses. And we want to invest in economic development within communities across the country, Ontario, Quebec, everywhere. We want to see this growth happening. And when we have this growth happening in Ontario, which we're seeing grow very rapidly, we're going to be developing new experiences tied directly to the culture. We want visitors to come to our programs, to come to our experiences and learn real history, real culture, not stereotypes, not caricatures. And we're going to see this grow, and we're going to strengthen these networks across our province and across the country. Working together is going to be the way we are going to meet our long-term goals. Now, I mentioned my business, Cape Croker Park and Anishinaabe Cultural Experiences, but there are many, many businesses across Ontario. A couple of them top of my head that you might have heard of. If you have not, I recommend checking them out, maybe going for a bit of a road trip. You have Wiki-Wemicon Tourism on Manitoulin Island, Thrive Tours Sault Ste. Marie. These are just a couple of the businesses that have benefited from the support ITAC has to offer. Networking, training, education, awareness. These are all seeing an increase in business due to support that we are getting from ITAC that will continue to grow our industry. Across the country, we see Indigenous tourism as a part of the economy as a whole, not as something separate, but something that ties everything together, that builds on our economy, that makes our country as a whole stronger. And so we need that support, we need that understanding to know what Indigenous tourism is and what we have to offer, which is a lot. Education, awareness, experiences, fun, relaxation, good food, everything. No matter what you are interested in, Indigenous tourism has something to offer you. With this $35 million annually, we'll be able to build sustainable businesses. We'll be able to support these businesses in marketing and awareness, in training and development. So the more investment, the more support, the more awareness that we have increases the longevity of these businesses, of our industry. The growth and the strength of Indigenous tourism is going to continue to flourish with the support. And I want to say Chimigwech, thank you very much to everybody who came out here today, everybody who is going to be watching, reading, learning a bit more about what Indigenous Tourism Association of Canada has to offer and how this growth over the next 5 years, over the next 10 years, and over the next 20 years is going to benefit all Indigenous tourism businesses and all Canadians and all visitors to Canada. They're going to learn about our people. They're going to learn about our history from us, not about us. Miigwech. And I want to introduce our next speaker, Andrea Christian from Toronto Council Fire Native Cultural Centre.
Nice to see you again. Hey, good. Where am I? Okay. Skole. I'll say wache, ani, bujo, kolamalsi, and welcome to our world, the Spirit Garden. And so I'm really happy that Council Fire had the opportunity, along with our partners, who are really good partners within the City of Toronto, to be the host of this beautiful group. That is quite impressive. It's quite impressive in terms of the numbers that they have. But before I do anything, I want to make sure I don't see Andy. So Andy, where are you? I want to make sure I acknowledge Andy Thomas, and that it's so critical in our world, in our world as people of the original origin. It's so important for us to always give that thanksgiving for being a part of this world here, and having all of the world work with us. Sometimes we don't work with the world, and so it's really critical. So, again, as I wanted to let you know that I put out a text to your Premier, and I say your Premier, because Premier Ford says, if you want to call me, you can call me anytime. Send me a text, and I'll always respond. So I said, okay, let's see how that works. And I wanted to make sure that I extended an invitation to him to come to this event, because it's so critical, as especially the hat in hand comment that he made last month. You know, that he's tired of our people always coming to them hat in hand in terms of at the same time realizing the tremendous resources that we have within our territory. What he doesn't understand is the fact that the resources are part of our mother. And a part of our mother is in terms of the goods and the services, and we have to take care of her. And so I also want to extend and share with our friends here about the Red Bear Singers. And if you've seen the beautiful outfits that they had on, they had that made. That was made specifically. So when you look at the economics and you look at the GDP and you look at the capacity of what we can do for each other, they're a prime example. They're a prime example of going through their own trauma, going through their own healing, their own wellness, and giving voice. And that voice actually come as their songs. And from the songs that it come right across. So these ladies come from different parts of this region as well as others. And to honor our guests from the West, I also wanted to make sure that I wear something that's reflective and welcoming of your, otherwise it would be only Ongohongwe. So again, you see what happens to when this sun, which is so beautiful, but now has a different place in terms of the climate change, that what we do, we were so used to the trees, but there is no more trees around us. So we made sure that we put people in the shade and to make sure that they're also, what we forgot to do is make sure that we're taking care of our guests too as well. I was looking and reflecting back at, you never send me an email because I always check out who you are. I want to know who you are, where you come from, what you do. I was quite impressed with this young group of 10 years. And 10 years as young people are getting ready for puberty. They're getting ready for that growth. And I looked at their vision, their mandate, and their mission, and I seen how it paralleled to us as a cultural center. And I also acknowledge you because you also were within the cultural center in your territory too as well. So this GDP or this tariffs, I think it's really important that we need to take it and own it. We own it, and we look at the trade amongst each other, and that's stuff that we do. And I'm hopeful that this group will come out again for our annual assembly, our annual gathering. It's called the Indigenous Legacy Gathering. And what we do is we ensure that we're providing space for free for our own, so they can also do their trades. They can also showcase their trades and their beautiful niches that's in place. So we invite other people to as well to come. And then we've invited the Sheraton Center, who we've dealt with for the last 8 years, and we want them to be our signature hotel. We want them to be the signature hotel who benefit from the tourists. Like your group, we look to raise at least $50 million on an annual basis. We're looking at in terms of what can we do with this space, this world that we have. How do we ensure that we generate that revenue? How do we make sure that we're training and we're also gifting back and giving back to our own in terms of the land, in terms of the development, in terms of the families, in terms of the air, in terms of our particular resources and our relationships, because that's so critical. And as you can see, and I don't know whether they had a tour, but the space that we have here is very inclusive. Not only do we have the amphitheater, but in the corner on your up ahead of us is the spirit garden, is the spirit canoe, and of course our white pine tree, and then the gaswanta, which binds our relationship in terms of the people, our people, and the other side. We also honor the turtle, who we call our mother. And in terms of she's the most reflective in terms of who we are. It identifies 13 shells around her, and that's the number of nations that we have in this particular region. And then around that shell is 28, which acknowledges the 28 days throughout. So we try to make sure that what we're doing, I shouldn't say try, what we do is make sure that we're acknowledging our relationships that we've established, that we continue to establish with one another, and to do the acknowledgements from our friends and our colleagues and from wherever they happen to come. So then we'll look for ways and means of, and remembering who we are. I know that you've adopted and used the terminology Indigenous, but I'm not Indigenous. I'm Ongohongwe. I come from Onondaga, and we have so many other people, like this young man who comes from Saugeen. You're Anishinaabe, right? and don't ever let anybody else identify you as anything different. So that's about us, without us is really critical in terms of our own history and who we are, and ensure that we're transferring that trueness and welcoming to one another. So I want to say thank you, Yamoko, Shimigwich, to everyone who's come out for today to recognize this group and to celebrate with them and to wish them all the very best and give all of our medicines to them that they do have a tremendous outcome, so that they do fulfill those needs before 2030. Before 2030, here we are, 2025, I think 2027, they should have 60,000. And then another, on top of that, another 60,000 for 2030. So we need to help them, help us to help the world. So, Yamoko, appreciate your coming out. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Andrea. I want to move right to our next speaker from the City of Toronto, the Deputy Mayor, Ozma Malik.
Good afternoon, everyone. How are you doing? You are all, can we give a round of applause to everyone who's here and who is enjoying this beautiful sunshine with us in the shade and out fully in it as well. Good afternoon. It is a true honor to be here with you today on behalf of the City of Toronto and on behalf of Mayor Olivia Chow. I'm Asma Malik, and I'm very proud to be Toronto's Deputy Mayor and very proud to be the City Councillor right here in Spadina, Fort York, home of the Spirit Garden. And I want to begin by thanking Andrew and Jason and Andrea for starting us off in such a good way. To the Red Bear Singers, can we give them all a big round of applause again? And of course, can we give a big round of applause to Keith, our MC, who is taking us through the afternoon and doing it heroically out here in the full sun. Thank you so much, Keith, for a beautiful welcome and demonstrating that commitment to hospitality. And I want to thank the Indigenous Tourism Association of Canada and, of course, Toronto Council Fire Native Cultural Centre for their consistent leadership for this space, and of course for the generous invitation to join you here on this important occasion. And as was mentioned, the significance of the Spirit Garden can't be overstated. And I'm so proud of the care and commitment that's made it a reality, especially when we get to share celebrations and recognitions like we are today. This is a space of healing and of reflection and of celebration built through the vision and leadership of Indigenous communities and supported by the City of Toronto. It is a powerful example of working together in that spirit of truth and justice and reconciliation and mutual respect. Heartfelt congratulations to the Indigenous Tourism Association of Canada on the release of the operational plan that you've heard more about today. This is a significant milestone, as Andrea recognized, that lays the strong foundation for growth, innovation, and opportunity in Indigenous tourism across the country. Indigenous tourism is important to Toronto's culture and economy. In 2023, Indigenous tourism contributed $1.3 billion to Canada's economy, and thanks to the Indigenous Tourism Association of Canada, their ambitious vision, it's going to make a remarkable impact and continue that incredible growth. As a driver of economic development and a meaningful and transformative way to share rich cultural heritage, knowledge, stories of Indigenous people, and experiences with residents and visitors, it is an invitation. Indigenous tourism, again, is an invitation to deepen understanding, to build relationships, and to strengthen our identity as a city rooted in its responsibility to truth and justice and reconciliation. The City of Toronto is committed to being alongside Indigenous communities to embrace these opportunities to thrive. Through Sidewalks to Skylines, our city's economic strategy, and through our Reconciliation Action Plan, we are working to ensure that Indigenous voices, businesses, and cultures are celebrated as central to our city's identity, to our economic and cultural future. I want to thank you again for this invitation, for your collective leadership in building a more inclusive and prosperous future. Have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Malik. This really does help. Trust me, you guys. I know that you're all feeling it out there as well. But so let's get on with some of the key points. What are we here announcing today? It was kind of spoken about briefly, but the major milestone we're here to say with the Indigenous Tourism Association of Canada, as we are here to celebrate 10 years of existence, we came together. I've been around in Indigenous tourism for 20 years. My job was originally out of British Columbia. I ran Aboriginal Tourism BC. And what we knew was there was a missing coordination for Indigenous tourism operators, networks. How do we compete in the tourism space? It's a very competitive space. So I'm really proud. There's been different iterations, and ITAC is now celebrating a decade of existence, and that's a major milestone for us. And I just want to thank everyone that's contributed to that evolution over the last 10 years. The second thing, and the more important thing I think for some of you here today, is we have secured a new 7-year funding commitment to the Passion Project Foundation. It's based on $140 million. It's not government money, it's private sector support. It's the first of its kind anywhere in the world, and it's the only investments that's ever happened to this magnitude for Indigenous tourism ever. And Canada has been a country that has been contributing and helping invest as the federal partners over the last number of years. But in this challenging economic climate, we've seen investments not grow, but somewhat be minimized because it's just a sign of the times. So this investment was so critical for us when we can see so much potential opportunity. We have to be able to harness it through marketing, through development, through leadership and partnership activities. And today, that is the big announcement, that we will be providing $35 million per year to stable and significant investments for the Indigenous tourism sector across this country. And we're very proud of that here at ITAC. With this plan, pardon me, in 25-26, if you've been on our website, we lay out our commitment to our members across the country through significant investments in marketing, development, and other business. And I'll give you some examples of the things that we're investing in. ITAC, through the work of our national board and our team, will be investing $6 million in additional marketing programs. This is almost a tripling of what we've done over the past number of years. So if we want visitors to find out who we are, I know that it's sometimes confusing. When you look at the pins we wear today, or you saw we call ourselves the original. We have to remember the visitor, the consumer themselves is very confused about what's the difference between authentic Indigenous and what's not. So what we've done as ITAC is create a simple brand that's going to attract the visitor, whether they're international or from within Canada. And so we've created a brand, and we're going to be really elevating those brands and really elevating marketing tactics and strategy. $8 million in business support for Indigenous tourism businesses and improving their market readiness through the original accreditation program. We have the only international accreditation program for market readiness called the original accreditation program. The incentive we're going to be saying for partners are Indigenous tourism businesses that want to get involved in it. If you get involved and apply, we will invest in you more. This is a grant. It's an investment in your business. We don't want to own it, but we want to support you and incentivizing you to continue your market readiness work. There'll be $5 million for wage subsidies. We've talked a lot about labor, so we'll be implementing $5 million across the country for new wage subsidies to workforce development and help address labor market uncertainties. This is very significant. The loss of the U.S. market, it's still interested in Indigenous destinations, but make no mistake, it is a softer market, and that has been about 35% of our customer base. And so this is a very significant challenge for some of our businesses for sustainability. So we're going to make sure that they have some other capacity to help maintain employees. $3 million in contributions to our partnering provincial and territorial Indigenous tourism organizations. ITAC is a national body. We have our Vancouver office, and we work across the country through a variety of networks. We will continue to invest in their capacity across the country. And we're going to be launching a new initiative, and one of our colleagues is here. We're announcing today an initial $1 million to launch the Indigenous Tourism Heritage Fund to fund major Indigenous tourism development projects through investment support, empowering the sector to make bold strides towards realization. This is a major program. This is just a first initial investment. We plan to significantly invest in that to help really build large infrastructure projects or contribute to large infrastructure projects that are going to help our industry grow to the next level. So where did the money come from? It's an innovative funding model. What makes the funding even more remarkable is how it's being delivered through social impact funding. This is outcome-based funding. It's an outcome-based funding model that reflects growing investor confidence in the long-term impact and sustainability of Indigenous tourism in Canada. It's an innovative approach and one that validates the economic and social value our sector brings from coast to coast to coast in this country. So, this is not, the beauty of this is it's not tied to fiscal years and grants and things that we've had, our contribution agreements, although we still want Canada, and we'd love to see the province of Ontario and other provinces and territories investing more in Indigenous tourism. We understand that this is a challenging economic time. So this has been a very innovative way for us to attract significant investments. And I just have to underscore, we've never had this level of investment ever before. Our largest year for investing in Indigenous tourism was during the pandemic challenges in 2020, and Canada invested about 16 million into grants to help our businesses not completely dissolve. So we're talking no less than 35 million a year for the next 7 years. So it is a significant change. It's a dramatic change to what's going to happen for Indigenous tourism in this country. So again, in closing, this funding reflects the strength of our sector, the trust we've built with our communities and partners, and the rising demand for Indigenous-led experiences rooted in culture, place, and stories. We know that there's a diversity of Indigenous political views, Indigenous businesses. We are not a political, we are an Indigenous-led, Indigenous tourism body. I'm proud of our staff that are here today. I know not many of you will know them, but I just want to point a few of them out. Tamara Littlelight, she's from Alberta. She's First Nation from a community in Alberta. She's our Director of Marketing. I'm proud to have a Director of Marketing that's First Nation on our team. I got our Director of Partnerships, Teresa Ryder, from the Musqueam Nation from Vancouver, British Columbia. She's one of our team leaders. Teresa does a great job for us. Another, talented young Indigenous woman. Ryan Rogers, another part of our marketing team, from the Musqueam First Nation, sitting right here. Sorry, you can put your hands up so I at least know who we're clapping for. Michelle Crook-Young, First Nation here in Ontario. She's helping us with the Indigenous Tourism Heritage Fund. I'm very proud of these Indigenous individuals that are working for us day in and day out. And I see Tara, from East Coast, who was our Director of Development, or I think said Director of Development, Director of Partnerships. I think I screwed it up again. We have the 3 T's, Tara, Teresa, and Tamara. It's like become a thing in our organization. The terrible T's, I don't know, we have to come up with something, but they're very, and there's many other team members here today, too many to point, but I'm just saying, we walk what we talk. We have mostly Indigenous staff. We have staff across the country, and we are very proud of the work that they do in all of these areas. So we thank all of you that have believed in our vision, from the Government of Canada, partnering provincial and territorial Indigenous tourism organizations, national tourism organizations, and private investors to our community leaders and operators on the ground. Together, we know that we are building the future where Indigenous tourism is a major contributor to Canada's economy and a critical pathway for economic reconciliation and cultural revitalization. Indigenous tourism is reconciliation in action. Everyone talks about it in this country. We all hear, oh, let's support reconciliation. We're going to have one night of this. Why not do it when you're on a holiday? Why not go in our hotels? Why not have your business meetings in our conference centers? Why not go to our restaurants? Why not come to our cultural events? So I think that we are trying to help Canadians, particularly that market, understand that this is one of the most powerful ways, because you're sustaining businesses and you're helping people share their culture and revitalize their culture in many cases. So we're proud to lead targeted investments as a nationally coordinated Indigenous-led approach for Indigenous tourism across this country. And I want to thank you all for being here today. I look forward to sharing more as we continue to grow and champion Indigenous tourism in this country. And as we wind this down, I know there's some media here. We are happy to take interviews in the shaded area and not up here. I'm telling you right now, it's like we're dying up here. But I want to invite all of you that are here today, and I thank all of you again for being here on this beautiful afternoon. There'll be food and drinks available. There's a reception right after here. It'll be a guided tour at the Spirit Garden at 3:30. And I don't know, Ryan, you're walking up like I'm getting something wrong. So. Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah. But I just want to let people know there's food and drinks available. You're certainly all welcome to join with us. And there'll be a guided tour of the Spirit Garden at 3:30 from the teaching lodge right here. So with that, the interview, I know media here, we can do those interviews after if that's okay. And I want to call Andrew back up to close with protocol for us. Let's welcome back Andrew to the stage.
School is so great. So I'm just going to elaborate a little bit. You know, I opened this event with what we call the Ganuhela Dunksla. So some people will say Thanksgiving address. Other people will say Ohanu Galiwadekwa, which means the words that get picked up before anything. It's also the last thing that we do before we split to go home, to remind ourselves of how we were bound together as our minds once today, and to remind ourselves to take what positive things that we experienced from our day and to take it home with us to where we dwell. So in the beginning of the day, we bind our minds together, and in this, we kind of release our minds. So Agwegunska, ne jidwa wait no ni ne ngwat ni gola soon. Yada jidwadat nu wala dunze. Ne got ni ganjo go da nu agwego ne jungwe dat sun dane to ne jotu hage ne ngwat ni go. Dane o nan jidwat slowly ne yung kino ha jio hunjad jan dane o not kayeli sego ne wat konu wala dun jit nate second kun la de jio hunjage ganto ni nan didwa dandi dane toji na yutu hage ne ngwat ni go. Dane o na tonun dwawani zade ne nundeli hunduni ayawaskwi ji segun siswayo deke nate ji sakali hunde ne galun yage tanlu sangwai disum dane toji na yutu hage ne ngwanigu dane o na jidwa tloli ne galun yage tanlu sangwai disum ne ji ne segun wat konu waladu dane yon goli hwat nege ji lodani dalusla ganto de sangwali hwanyeta ne yo hundu ya de wat nis la denyundi dane toji na yutu hage ne ngwanigu dane to na kali wat kweni chi nikaya kwali wan hodungo kwali wan hodun ne ganu hela dungsa ne aya waskwi hagwe gon chi diswaya hagwe gon skana diswanu tuni ne di ne I zo watste chi got nuwe jungwat squadeni daneta. So again, thank you guys for coming out, and yeah.
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and visit us on all our social media platforms. Please visit our website for more information.